day 337. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Wow, here we are, day 337. And we are about to get started. For those of you who are watching, just taking a sip of water, my name is Toby. I am 40 years old and I train to live a healthy, self-sufficient and active life. It is 5:59 a.m. I'm 30 minutes behind because I decided to sleep a bit longer and forgot to change the timer on my live stream. Sorry about that. And we're about to get started with Kettlebell. So hey, um, like I said, I am 40 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to feel fit and capable for whatever life is going to throw at me. And how I do that is I mind my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. Last night I think I got about 6, so that's one night that is a bit too short. I mind what I eat, try to eat within my energy balance. I try to eat generally healthy, a healthy, well-rounded, diverse meal that includes a lot of vegetables. And I try to take in about 120 to 150 grams of protein a day. I do my strength training, I do conditioning training, I do mobility work. I try to spend time with people I love and care about. I try to do things that I enjoy, and I try to generally live a stress-free life. And all of those things taken together are supposed to help me stay healthy as I age, because not only is it a biological fact that around 40, probably your mileage may vary per individual, but around 40, your body simply has a harder time staying fit and healthy, and it becomes more about using it so you don't lose it. And as long as you're using it, you can actually maintain and keep healthy for quite a long time. So that's where I'm at in my journey. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I want to feel fit, competent, and capable for whatever life throws at me. And that's why we're here this morning, just checking in with my body. I feel a bit of stiffness in my neck from probably the way I slept tonight. So we're going to do some light mobility before we're going to dive into the entire session this morning. Like I always say, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on, because it's the person we are today that's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So if you're on any kind of fitness or health journey, be kind to yourself, because it's you that's going to have to get you from today to where you want to be tomorrow. And a bit of kindness, probably together with doing something we enjoy, is quite motivating. The only way to get anything done, friend, is by showing up and doing the work. So we're just going to get started. I'm going to turn on a timer, and we are going to do light mobility. Just want to check in with my neck and my body, and then we're going to pick up some kettlebells and get going, because we have a lot of work to do today. We're going to start off with strength. We're going to finish up with some conditioning. I'm just going to give my neck a slight warm up, because I've just started to live without pain in my neck and shoulder, and we want to make sure that that stays the way it is at the moment for the time being. So I'm just going to roll that neck around. You can feel that muscle needs a bit of time to wake up. completely fine this morning because it is Sunday morning. So why don't you tell me this Sunday morning, which is the before last Sunday morning in November. We've got one more weekend in November left. How you are doing. Just in life in general. How are you doing? You doing all right? How was your week? Do you look back on a week and think, oh, this is going to have been, this was a good week? And are you looking forward to what the next week will bring? Hmm? I know if I look back at the last week, I will say that was a good week. Work-wise, family-wise, sports-wise. I was actually talking about it with my wife yesterday. We were both surprised that I actually made it 337 days of exercising, recovering from a neck herniation. I still went out for walks every day and still did HIIT training on a stationary bicycle, for example, at that time. Going through summer, going on vacation, bringing my kettlebells along on summer vacation, and training every morning before the family activities. You have all the videos, by the way. Those are the ones of me in the mountains. That's something we're going to do again next year, by the way. So yeah, that was pretty good. Then, looking back at the last week of work, got the things done that I wanted to get done, busy times ahead, but I think for me, the busiest period, more or less, behind so just prime the bigger muscles for what's going to happen next. So the busiest period behind us, which is good. So I'm happy about that. And if I look back on the weekend and the family birthday, it was a good family birthday. We had a good time. It was a day well spent yesterday, and we have the rest of the day now to spend in relative peace and quiet. just do some swings, and then we're going to get started with the heavier kettlebells. We're going to start with deadlifts and alternate with rows. Deadlifts, 40 kilos. We're not in a hurry, so we're doing strength training, trying to get the technique in and a good amount of repetition. We're going to go on to gorilla rows. $20. We're actually going to do a ladder, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. Which is 10 reps in total, but a different kind of challenge. So usually on Sunday mornings, I will reflect on life. I will reflect on life. I'll look at life and how things are going. If Alex, my friend, good morning. How are you doing this Sunday? You doing all right? I hope you're doing okay. I hope life is treating you well. And I hope you're having a good day where you're at. I believe you're a bit further along in the day, if I'm not mistaken. So start looking at my health in general, right? When I think about my health, do I feel well? Do I feel good? Let's look at my physical health. I feel my physical health is in a good place. Last week I might have said, oh, temporarily not because I have a cold, but now it is all fine, all good. So physical health is fine. Mentally, I have a wide range of emotions, from frustration and anger to joy, love and happiness, and everything in between. And I feel I'm in control of my emotions. So I think that is a healthy spectrum to experience life and emotions on. The last week's been particularly good. So, well, maybe that's mentally and emotionally, because it's always also look at whether I'm having strange thoughts or not. And to be honest, the dark weather, the winter, tends to get to me, and that's alright. Because we know that happens. So I know that the slight gloom on my mood some days stems very simply from the fact that there's a lack of sunshine outside. So I spend more time outside to make sure that my body gets that vitamin D, because you're more covered in winter, so you need more time, because there's also less direct sun there to actually get that vitamin D in. So that's definitely something I'm working on. And then there's just the awareness of, some gloomy, some sad, some more down thoughts, I guess, that I deal with on day to day. But I also know that the moment the sun's out, most of those feelings and thoughts go away, the gloominess. So it is really weather related. So not too worried about it. I'm looking for an opportunity to spend more time in the sun. But that, one, costs money, two, time, and three, there are other things and other priorities that need to be seen to as well. So mental and emotional, yeah, we're right. Let's see. Then, if you are so inclined, what is your spiritual health? Are you connecting with your source of religion, beliefs, or anything else that centers you, gives you direction, peace of mind? And if you haven't this week, why not? What's going on? And what can we try this week to actually make that happen? All right. So that's going on. That's something to think about. And I always, in general health, I know people find this a bit weird sometimes, but I include, just quickly reflecting on my financial health. Am I able to save some money? Do I have enough money coming in to cover all the expenses and have some left at the end of the month, foundationally? Is that the case, yes or no, or do I live in financial stress? And the answer is that is a-okay. So all in all, I'd say we're health-wise in a good place. By no means am I rich or money hidden behind the walls or anything. Need to be mindful, just like most people do, but we're in a good place. So if I reflect on those four things, then I'd say that we are in a good spot. I think I'm turning the exercises around this time. That's okay. So let's look at our relationships. Am I spending enough time with people I love and really care about? Because that's the second step in this reflection, right? Am I or am I not? And the answer obviously is yes, I am. And the answer obviously also is not enough. So I spend a lot of time with my kids, my wife, grandparents. Yesterday was the first time in a long time that we saw all of our friends from both sides, from my wife's side, my side, or not even all. And I think 2 weeks ago in London, got some time to spend time with 2 friends. But in between daycare rhythm, workouts, work, it's hard to balance everything. And then, of course, when people get sick, you have to cancel appointments. So I'd say that in the relationship with my kids and my wife, we're all good. I can always do more. I can always spend more time with them. But with friends and family, maybe there is a bigger need. I think yesterday also showed a bigger need to really find the time every week to see at least one friend socially. However, we might make that work. So, for those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I'm 40 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. In order to do that, I mind my sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night. I mind what I eat, try to eat within my calorie balance. The goal is to maintain the weight, shape, and size I'm at the moment. And I try to eat 120 to 150 grams of protein to keep up with my training. I focus on strength training, conditioning training, and mobility training. I generally use kettlebells for my training. Beyond that, I try to live a stress-free life, spend time with people I love and care about, and do things that I enjoy. So if that's something you're interested in, if we have that in common, then go ahead, subscribe to my channel, and we can continue this conversation about health, fitness, kettlebells. I'm a certified personal trainer, also kettlebell trainer, and I've invested quite a lot of time this year in learning to do better and better with kettlebells, and that journey will continue through next year as well. And if you're interested in my track record of staying on track, go onto my channel and take a look at how consistent I've been this year and what we might learn from that. Final sets. And the final set of rows is going to come up. Then we're going to move to presses and squats. So that's what's next. And like I said, we're taking it relatively nice and easy today, because the first half of the training we're interested in strength, and technically I'm supposed to go out running, this morning, but it's winter, it's really cold, I've just been sick. So I'm gonna play it safe for the run this week, and I'm going to do my conditioning with a kettlebell from home. So we're gonna see what that is like, what that involves. It's gonna be a very light kettlebell, an 8 kilo. And we're going to just move for about 30 minutes, maybe a bit longer. With that, that's going to be the start of the day. That's a good start of the day, what can I say? And probably when the weather clears, we will head out into nature for a little walk and some time outside. So what I try to do with these rows, by the way, is not support myself with my free hand so that my core needs to do a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm not letting my body buckle as I lift the weights. This makes this just a slightly harder exercise to do, but in a good way. Okay, we're going to do cleans and push presses, cleans and presses. Hey, good morning, Texas. Why, it's only 55. No? Oh. Sorry, a bit slow. I haven't had coffee yet. One of my kids turned 5. So here we are. This weekend. That's why we have this hanging there. All right, cleans, push presses. We're going to do those from a dead position. 1, 2. And you see already with the swing, clean and press that we're starting to mix strength and conditioning, but this is still strength because weight and low repetitions. For sure, give myself some time to catch my breath. We're going to head on to 10 squats. So we need to do both sides of the muscles of the legs. So, and take a little break before we move on to the cleans and push presses again. Not sure if you saw my comment. Sure, it made sense. I did. I'll have to reread it. I think you were curious about whether I feel my left and right snatch are in the same place. I feel they are, but I'll review the suggestion you gave next time I do them to see if there's any change. I don't remember everything I read, so I always make a note to review it if someone gives me a tip on a bit of a quieter moment with the kettlebell to see how it works. But if it doesn't make sense, I will let you know. But I do appreciate you thinking along and sharing what you've learned with me so that I can improve and get better. I think that is incredibly helpful. And I mean that, so thank you. How is winter in Texas, by the way? Has it gotten even colder, just like here? 5 left. Right. Next up, squats. I know what to do with your opposite, the arm and hand. Yeah, I have an issue with that. I remember now, and I know, find it. It's a bit awkward because I also don't feel like taking a kettlebell in both hands would defeat the purpose. Texas is finally nice and cool, right? And how long does winter last in Texas? Is that a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months? So I can imagine, given the climate, it gets pretty warm pretty fast. 3, 4. One more set, push presses, one more set of squats, and then we're going to get into some conditioning. About a month, so come January it starts getting warmer again. It's going to be like this through March and spring. Everyone thinks it's summer. Then May comes and everyone's disappointed it's not summer yet. And then summer becomes too warm and everyone complains that it's too warm. And then it's winter, everyone complains that it's too cold. So I think the country just thinks, whatever, can't win with you people. I know that's how I'd feel if I were in the Netherlands. So anyway, that's what's going on here. We were reflecting on the week and on life. Before my friends of ours from YouTube Punk showed up. I think that's also a sign of, connection and shared interest. When a conversation just picks up every day in a fun way with people. So, having reviewed family and friends let's just take a quick look at the contributions I'm making to communities I'm a part of. And there are a couple of communities that I'm a part of, whether I want to acknowledge it or not. And so are you, probably. So one community is my neighborhood. Another one is the school that my son goes to, the sport club that he attends. Another one is my colleagues at work, because that is also a community. So when we think of the communities that we're a part of, right, am I contributing, participating in them? Because I do very much believe that, by the way, this is also a community of us here online interested in health, fitness, kettlebells, getting fit for the 30s, 40s, and 50s for a longer and healthier life. So if those are things that we're interested in, right, that I'm part of, how actively am I and can I participate? So for example, with the street, with the neighborhood, having chats with the neighbors, stopping on the street, talking for a moment, getting to know everyone, maybe organizing something with the direct neighbors, like a coffee or drinks. All right. The same with the community of my son's school. Are we participating? There are a lot of things that parents do. You can be more or less officially involved. You can participate by doing stuff, the events they organize. You can participate by going to read stories to class and kids. There's different ways to participate in a community like that. And I think outside of work, where I'm very involved 40 hours a week, and even there I might be able to do something on the side of my day-to-day job. There's probably a bit more I could do to foster that sense of community that I would like to have and see with myself in the neighborhood, with you as a group. There's always more I can do on YouTube, at school. So, thinking about what I can do there is probably going to be something I want to spend some time on next year, when I find some more time. So yeah, that's all part of relationships as an aspect of health, right? Then we're looking at, let's see, finances. Because I am a firm believer that any kind of financial stress, which is basically in today's society, stress of whether you're going to have enough food or a roof over your head or whatnot, is something to be mindful of on a weekly basis. People would say daily reality, but in general, sometimes we are so caught up and busy, you don't think about it. By the way, I've been down, out, and broke and in debt, and I feel I am fortunate that I live where I live because lot of social security that we have, but more and more, I realize that that is an exception in the world we live in. I picked myself up and worked hard. Had a couple of lucky breaks over the course of 13 years. And look where we are today. So that's something worth thinking about. So the first one I look at is steady, a stable income. And as far as I can tell, at the moment, we seem to be doing just fine. So what that means is that overall, every month money's coming in, money's going out, but I'm not too worried for the immediate future. And for the next 6-12 months. So hey, we're good. And savings. I've managed to live a life within 90% of my income on a monthly and yearly basis, which means that there's savings. That's always good, right? Just in case. So is there an emergency fund? Should I, for example, lose my job or my wife or something else happens that prevents us from working for whatever reasons, then we're good for at least 3 to 6 months. So that's in place. And finally, and mind you, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'd say that it might be the thing to want to look into. How some of those savings are directed towards the long-term 20, 30 years time horizon. So just as a thought for us to think about, do I currently have sufficient funds coming in month to month? And am I worried about that stream of income? Am I able to set aside any money from that monthly income to have a buffer for at least 1, but preferably 3 to 6 months? And am I able to invest one way or another future. So hey, those are the big questions about financial health, which come after general health, relationships and connections, and then, right, we look at pursuits. And what I mean by pursuits is doing things that I enjoy for me. And there are some split interests at the moment that I need to reconcile. So first of all, one of my hobbies is creating videos. As you can see here on the channel, something I enjoy doing. Not particularly good at it, but it's fun, and it's an outlet for me as a person. Good. The second one is creative writing, telling, but also experiencing stories in my free time. Just something I enjoy doing for myself. But I've always been a sucker for good stories, both TV series, movies, and video games. So, what happens right now is that I am still 100% bought into showing up to train every day, but I would like to spend some of the cold winter months also playing some video game from beginning to end, because it's sold like 10 million copies and it has won a lot of Game of the Year awards, so there must be something good about it. The problem with video games is, you probably realize this, if you're also 40 years old, they always take up a lot of time, and we've been over this many times, that I have my priorities in this circle, things that I want to spend time on. So you add something needs to be taken off. That's one. But also, video games, gaming in general, is not something I'm going to do at 6 in the morning. So it's always something that comes at the end of the day. So when do I fit it in? What limits am I able to set on myself? And now, do I have the discipline to fight the urge to do a bit more? So hey, if that's something you experienced, let me know in the chat, because I would love to just hear from you how you deal with those kinds of things. Dilemmas and decisions. I know how I'm going to deal with it. I think it's something that most of us struggle with, the temptations and interests that daily life has to offer versus just going to take a minute to catch my breath, by the way, versus the somewhat repetitive routine of daily life that keeps things stable and keeps that boat slowly moving towards a good final destination. A bit. Yeah, so that's another consideration that plays into this factor, right? If dad's playing game, when does it become okay for kids to play video games? So, right, because, so, right now I'm worried, but I'm talking about the me question, and the, oh, how is this going to affect me? That's fine. I think we all get that. But indeed, you need to think family-wise. The example you're setting as a father for 2 boys. And I know, for example, from my own experience, that it's not a coincidence that the idea to play PlayStation comes out in November and December when it's dark and cold, and I feel slightly gloomy. And I've noticed for years that during summer, spring, and most of fall, I'm not that interested or tempted to play. So it's worth considering also, do I really want to play, or is it an escape? Because to be very honest, it's quite satisfying, but not as satisfying as a good workout in the morning with some friends on a stream. So, decisions. Do I maintain my hobby of video making, podcast making? Do I exchange it for time playing a video game? Well, which, considering my long-term life goals, is something I want to think about. And I don't think, some people might say, well, dude, no, you're really overthinking it. But I'll tell you this, it's so easy to pick up things that you think are an innocent hobbies or ways to spend your time. Before you know it, you're overcommitted and stressed because you forgot that you're the one who's supposed to take charge and control of life and what you spend your time on. So, sure, don't overthink it, but the flip side of that is don't underthink it either, friend. Spend some time thinking these things through ahead of 2025, the year I will turn 41. Oh. So yeah. I probably need to keep my distance from the window there. So the safest way to do that is to stand away from the window. Isn't that right, friends? Always be mindful of the surroundings. By the way, we are winding down on this non-stop, but as you can see, it's quite nice to know that we can go 5, 10, 15 minutes without putting the kettlebell down, really. That shows an increase, an improvement in strength, stamina, and technique. All right, I'm going to do one more. That's just because I'm curious if I will be able to squat down just overhead. 8, change hands, squat down, press. Yep. As you saw on the left, that will require a bit more work. Hey there, friends. 6:57 a.m. For those of you watching, my name is Toby. I'm 40 years old. I train to live a healthy, self-sufficient, and active life, not only now, but well into my 70s and 80s, hopefully, so that I mind my sleep 7 to 9 hours a night, mind what I eat. The goal is weight maintenance and 120 grams of protein a day. Strength training, conditioning training, mobility training, doing things I enjoy, spending time with people I love and care about, and generally living a stress-free life. So hey, if that's something you're interested in, friend, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. We can continue the conversation. We're entering week 4 of my weekly habit challenges. We've done the glass of water, we've done walks, we've been focused on a wind down routine. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about adding more protein to our diet for 1 meal a day to see how we've done that change. Yes. And squat while holding the press. Those are tough. Tetris Effect is a fun game. I used to play a lot of Tetris. I don't know Tetris Effect, but I'll look it up. That's actually a good variation, maybe one worth starting with to get down into that position. I have to look up. I was just wondering, I tried it a year ago and I couldn't even press either one of them overhead, so I see progress, but that wasn't anywhere close to what it was supposed to be. In any case, friends, thanks for dropping by. Saying hi between 6 and 7 a.m. I need to get back to 5 a.m. I have the idea. There are slightly more people online in the US. YouTube Punk, Ivanis, thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I hope you're both doing well. Enjoy your rest of the day, Ivanis. Your good night's sleep. Take care. And like I always say, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So, friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.